third team we're going to be talking about in the AFC South, team that finished second last year, is the Houston Texans. They made several moves this offseason, including trading for Detroit Lion long-timer David Montgomery, signing Reed Blankenship from the Philadelphia Eagles, re-signing Will Anderson to a massive 3-year, $150 million deal, re-signing Galen Hunter for a 1-year deal worth $40 million. And then with their first-round selection, they did take Keelan Rutledge, the guard slash center, we're going to call it, from Georgia Tech. Because, Braden, you said that he was going to potentially play center for him. Does that sound correct?
Currently, ESPN has him as their starting center.
Okay. So, we'll call it interior offensive line right now. But yep, some of the other moves they made, they signed Wyatt Teller from the Cleveland Browns. They signed Braden Smith from the Indianapolis Colts. They re-signed Trent Brown on that offensive line, as well as giving Azeez Al-Shire a 3-year, $54 million extension, along with many other deals. Guys, this team went 12-5 last year, despite their poor offensive play throughout the year and including the playoffs. And my question for you guys is, can the offense help the defense win games in 2026?
I don't know, man. The offensive line did get a little bit better, bringing in Wyatt Teller, like you said, Keelan Rutledge, and Braden Smith. I don't know. I don't really have a... They brought in Dave Montgomery, shout out Cyclone Legend. I don't have a lot of faith in that running game, really. And when you have a quarterback who I feel like it just has the spooks right now, he's just not feeling good. You need to be able to have a strong, consistent running game to be able to lean on. And I don't know if David Montgomery and Woody Marks is going to really do it for me. Granted, this defense is flat out insane looking at it. But, like, yeah, I really, I don't know.
Yeah, if the offensive line is good this year, I think it actually comes more down on whether or not CJ Stroud is going to be that quarterback that Houston thought he was going to be when they drafted him. Because I do think that the wide receivers are there. They also drafted Marlon, I think is Kellen is his name, from Michigan at the tight end position in the second round. Also, they signed Caden McDonald, a defensive tackle from, I think, Ohio State. So they already boosted up the defense even more with another young asset. But I think the offense is there. Whether or not CJ Stroud is going to really prove that he deserves to be a franchise quarterback. I don't really know if Texans fans are calling him a franchise quarterback. I think the organization obviously wants him to be. So it's kind of on his shoulders this year. I think this is going to be a really huge year for him and the franchise as a whole, because if he plays even half as bad as what he did against New England, and there was tons of things going on with weather and everything that may have added to it, but like if he plays like that this year, like it's going to be an interesting offseason for them, because a lot of their young assets are starting to get towards their contract years, and you're going to have to make decisions on whether or not you want to pay them, whatever it may be. But yeah, I think CJ Stroud can do it, though. I have confidence in this team. I think that they're going to be able to compete again for a division championship. I don't know how much I think that their record's going to improve, but I do think that they have the ability to take that stride and make the jump towards probably being where I think people thought they would be towards the end of last year. Because the playoff run for them was very disappointing in terms of the ending and everything, and I think it left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths, to the point where like it's a bigger deal than it probably should be. But I don't know. Maybe it should be as big of a deal as some people have made it out to be.
Yeah, I don't know how to interpret CJ Stroud. I really don't, because I am old enough to remember when me and Brock first started doing an NFL podcast. when CJ Stroud was a rookie. Neither one of us were very high on the Texans. I think we both had them probably finishing towards the bottom of the AFC, and
Yeah.
they ended up making the playoffs, and we were both proven wrong. And then it's like, oh, he's gonna build off that and have a even better. He's one of the better young quarterbacks in the NFL. The following year, it's like, okay, he took a step back, but they're still a playoff team, so that's fine. They beat, was it Cleveland? No, they beat someone and then lost to Kansas City in 2024. And then 2025, he had, what's weird is he had the best completion percentage of his career, the best QBR of his career, but had the lowest yards per game of his career, the lowest yards per completion of his career, but got sacked a few. So, like, I don't know if it's, like, what the deal is, if it's just play calling, if it's him just getting the yips in some games. So, I don't really know where he's going to, like, fall in the hierarchy of quarterbacks this year. Because, like, on paper, the guy has enough talent to potentially be a top 10 quarterback. I mean, he's shown flashes in his rookie year and second year of being a top 5 quarterback. He, like, flirting with that idea. I don't think he's there anymore. But who's to say he couldn't get back to that level? The kid is only 25 years old, so he still has time to get there. But that's going to be the key for Houston because Braden mentioned it, Brock mentioned it. The defense is lights out. The defensive line, the secondary, the linebacker room is unreal. And D'Amico Ryans has a hell of a squad on that side of the ball. And if it comes down to, again, where the defense is forcing turnovers and the offense is giving up turnovers, then we could. I don't know if we want to say that the Texans could be out on CJ Stroud, but you at least have to entertain the idea of potentially finding someone else to play quarterback. But in the end, I think CJ Stroud's going to bounce back from this year. If he can get rid of those yips that he had against New England and even Pittsburgh, frankly, because he didn't play great in that Pittsburgh game either. But what are your guys' floor, ceiling, and realistic record predictions for the Houston Texans in the year 2026?
Yeah, this is just a weird team to kind of just put a pin. Like, yeah, this is where they're gonna be. I feel like floor. If the offense just like really can't get it going, CJ Stroud looks like the guy we saw in the playoffs and not who we saw the first couple years of his career. I feel like 7-10 is a floor here. Like
Same here.
this schedule is not exactly easy looking at it. Ceiling, same as they did last year at 12-5. Because yeah, I mean it feels like a pretty big window, but like it really just kind of depends. Like, do we see an offense that can actually play offense, or do we see an offense that could not move the ball to save their lives?
God.
And realistic record, I'll put it at like 10-7.
You literally just copied exactly what I was going to say. 7 the low, 12 the high, 10 is where I expect it.
Yeah, fair enough. Their win total over under for this upcoming season is 9.5. So
I thought I was being crazy here and super dissing the Texans. No, this is just the this is what everybody
They have a
thinks.
tough
Okay.
schedule.
yeah, they have the. I had the schedules pulled up in front of me. Where they at? Oh, I guess by the records they have the 7th easiest schedule, but I'd have to really take an in-depth dive on their schedule. Real quick.
I mean, versus Buffalo, versus Cleveland to start not Cleveland, Cincinnati to start. Both of those are home games. But like at Indianapolis versus Dallas.
Man, the
at
road
Tennessee
games are
versus
brutal at the end
Jacksonville.
of the year.
Yeah.
At Washington, yeah, that's a tough one.
At Jacksonville, at Green Bay,
Yeah.
those are rough games
They're-
to end your season on.
For a team that is based in Texas, they are in the north half of the country 4
lot.
times in December.
Yeah.
And Green Bay in January. Like,
Oh, yes. Sorry. Green Bay's in January. So 3 times in December, Green Bay in January. I forget that we're in January now for the regular season.
Yeah. Gross. But so, Brock, you're spot for spot with Braden on record predictions
Yep.
for that Texans. Okay. I This team doesn't really have much wiggle room because unless their defense takes a huge step back, which I don't really foresee, like their floor for me is like 8 and 9. And that's like if CJ Stroud still has the yips and their defense still manages to win them a bunch of games. Ceiling, I'll go 11-6. I still think this is like a 10-7 ball club that's could sneak in. And I've said that about a lot of teams that we've done recaps for already. But it kind of just feels like the AFC doesn't really have a juggernaut right now. There's not a team, no doubt, that's like, hey, that's the 1 seed. That's the division winner. Kind of feels like every division has an argument of who could win it. Because we've discussed the AFC East. Buffalo or New England could win that one. The AFC North, Cincinnati or I almost said Cleveland. Cincinnati or Baltimore could win that one. This one,
things have happened.
Crazy things have happened. But it just feels like the AFC is in stark contrast to the NFC. It feels like the NFC, there's like 4 good teams and then meh after that. So the AFC's really deep, but there's not the juggernaut. So I just feel like Houston kind of just meanders at that 10-7 number. And like they have the last 3 years, I could see them winning a playoff game and then losing the next one. So right now, I'll stick with 10-7, but that is due to change. Obviously, I don't know if I've mentioned this. We were recording in July. So if you made it to this part, thank you. But all these predictions that we were making, we were trying our best to look ahead in the future, even though
It's
we're
like drafting
5 weeks away.
fantasy players in August.
Yeah, you just can't do it. I like doing it in like the end of August, but even then, I've gotten screwed a couple times where someone gets hurt in preseason, and then you're just mad. So, but anything else on the Houston Texans side of things before we go into the last team that won the division last year?
Shout out the Iowa State Texans, dude. They have
Yeah.
Iowa State players kind of just move in hives. Like other than Brock on the Niners. Like it's always like groups. Like you have the Jets with Will McDonald, Breece Hall, Kane Nwangwu. You have the Texans with Dave Montgomery, Jaden Higgins, Jalen Knoll. Like it's always just like clumps of Cyclones. None of them are really just like floating in the abyss by themselves, other than Brock Purdy.
Hey,
Don't
maybe
forget about Tyler Moore at New York
Is he on the Giants or the Jets?
Giants. I think he just signed with them.
And Jalen Travis is on the Colts, I guess. So
Charlie.
I think he's their starting right
Moore.
tackle right now.
Yep.
I lost my train of thought. Oh, if CJ Stroud takes a step back, maybe the Texans call up San Fran and be like, "Hey, Brock, now." Just saying. Then you could really form the Houston Cyclones.
You know what? If of any team that I would lose Brock Purdy to, you know what, man?
With D'Amico Ryans too, who is familiar with Purdy.
You know,
It would be funny.
I sat through it, which again, looking back at the trade, it was a better trade for the Cardinals. But like, I sat through the DeAndre Hopkins, David Johnson trade. There was ever a trade that actually would make me 1,000% bandwagon from one team to another, it would be Brock Purdy getting traded to Houston. I would, and it wouldn't even be hard. I would 1,000% just drop everything and do it.
Listen, CJ Stroud and 2 first-round picks. We can talk.
Well, you wouldn't even need Stroud. You have McCorkle Jones on your roster.
Yeah,
but he's on the
San
last year of his
Francisco
deal.
would be like, just keep him.
Keep CJ. We got Mac. That's our
3-team
They got
trade. They
KD,
just
we got
send him to
Jaden
Arizona
Daniels.
to die.
They just send him to the Jets.